What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's your boy TTG here, and today I'm making my semifinal picks. Yes, that is right. I'm giving you the download, the scoop on who I think is going to win this game. These games, sorry, not this game, these games. All right? Now, before I get started on the video, I need you to click the subscribe button. We're on the way to 700 subs, and if I'm stuttering, I'm sorry. It's freezing cold in my house. I just woke up and it's cold, okay? Sorry. Subscribe, like, click the bell notification, and comment who you think is going to win the whole thing, all right? Let's get into the video. All right, without further ado, here we go. We're going to start off with number 6 versus number 7, Penn State, January 9th. Tomorrow, 7:30 in the Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida. All right? So, what kind of game do I think this is going to be? I believe, without a question, in my opinion, this is going to be a defensive matchup, and it's going to be low scoring. And I'll tell you why. I think both defenses are pretty good. You saw what Notre Dame did in the Sugar Bowl to Georgia. I mean, held them to what, 10 or 13 points, something like that. They looked phenomenal. What they did well is they played defense, they took advantage of turnovers, and they played special teams well. They dominated special teams. And Penn State has looked pretty good on defense as well. Now, I will say they have, I won't say a ton more explosive playmakers on offense, but they do have the two-headed running back. I don't know if Bryce Love's even playing in this game, so I would say Notre Dame has a two-headed backfield as well. Anytime you make it this far in the year, you've probably got a couple good guys in your backfield. Both quarterbacks can make plays, but I think Tyler Warren is kind of like an X factor on offense. He can really get after it. He's a matchup problem. So whenever Penn State lines up, you have to account for him doing a lot of things, running the ball, throwing the ball, and of course, catching the ball. So these teams are very, very similar in my opinion. They're both going to try to establish the run and play defense and try not to make mistakes. So what does that mean, in my opinion? I think obviously whatever team makes the most mistakes is going to be playing from behind. Neither of these teams are really made to play catch up from behind. Penn State is probably a little better at catching up if need be, but neither team's really good at it. They're used to playing with the lead, running the ball, establishing both lines of scrimmages, and taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. So the teams are very similar in my opinion. Now, a lot of people have, especially early in the year, the quarterback position was that was in question, I would say, for both teams. Riley Leonard didn't look great, and a lot of people thought Drew Aller was highly overrated. Now, let me be the first to say I was probably amongst the masses on this. I probably thought that Riley Leonard wasn't very good, and Aller was probably overrated. But now looking back, how they've been playing on the stretch, they've both been playing pretty daggone good football. Now, if you look at the stats from the Sugar Bowl, Riley Leonard's stats aren't going to wow you, but he took care of the football. He ran the ball downhill, and he made a couple good throws. I mean, that's all you needed him to do. So him taking care of the football, being able to throw it downfield and stretch the field a little bit is exactly what you need. Same with Drew Aller. He's been fantastic, actually. I think he's been playing, I know he's been playing his best football in the playoff. He's looked great. Ever since the Big Ten championship game, he's looked good. Throwing the ball all over the field. He can run a little bit. He's sneaky athletic. And he just looks like a baller out there. He's really raised his draft stock. Unfortunately, he's already said he's coming back. Now, I know that's just a verbal agreement, but we'll see where that leaves him. If he balls out these next 2 games and maybe wins a national championship, what else could he possibly accomplish in college? So we'll see how that plays out. Now, the over-under is set at 45.5. I would take the under here. I would take the under. I think both teams are going to try to run the ball, and I think both defenses are going to be able to stop the run and get off the field. It's going to take some shot. I think whatever team wins is going to have to win the game throwing the ball. Now, can one of them pop a big run and that change the whole entire game? Sure. But I think both defenses, Marcus Freeman and James Franklin are going to tell their defense coordinators, hey, we stop the run first, make them beat us throwing the ball. So I'm going to take the under here, 45.5. Now, I may be completely wrong, and I'm not telling you to bet on this. I'm just saying I think it's going to be a lower scoring football game. Notre Dame is favored by 2.5. Actually, I guess it's not interesting. I guess Notre Dame has the best win thus far in the playoffs, and they've looked really good since that loss at Northern Illinois, I guess. So Notre Dame is favored by 2.5 last I checked. Both coaches, in my opinion, have exceeded postseason expectations. A lot of them had the moniker attached to their name that they can't win the big games. Now, these may not be national championship level games, but you don't get to the Natty without winning these games. So they're big games, in my opinion. James Franklin's won 2. So has Marcus Freeman. I've won 2 big games. Notre Dame beat Indiana and Georgia. Penn State beat Boise State and SMU. I really think Notre Dame probably had the tougher games. SMU, they're explosive offense, but their defense isn't that good. And they turned the ball over, 3 times in that game? And then Boise State, they belonged in the playoff, but did they really belong getting a first-round bye? Probably not. If you stop Genty, which they kind of did, he still ended up having 100 yards, but he didn't go crazy. If you stopped Genty, you knew you could probably stop Boise State. So I think Notre Dame had a little tougher run. Whoever turns the ball over, I've said this earlier. I think I gave away my pick. Not my pick, but my key to the game. Whoever turns the ball over is going to lose the game. Plain and simple. A fumble, an interception, a muff punt, a blocked field goal, something like that is going to swing this game, I think. Because these teams are going to be playing not to make mistakes. Whatever team does not turn the ball over is going to win. So, with that being said, trust is a strong word. I trust James Franklin to have his team ready. I trust Drew Aller. I trust both those running backs and the wide receiver course to not turn the ball over. I also kind of trust Notre Dame not to turn the ball over. I'm just going out on a whim here, and I just think Penn State's going to win the game. I think it's going to be incredibly close. I'm going to predict the score. I'm going to go 24-20. So actually, that's 24-20. Yeah, that's right there at the over-under. But it will still be under 24-20 Nittany Lions. That's my prediction. All right, let's move on to the Cotton Bowl. Number 8 versus number 5, Texas, January 10th. So Friday, the following day, 7:30, Cotton Bowl, Dallas, Texas. Now, this is an interesting matchup as well. I think these teams are kind of similar as well. I think both offenses have been explosive at times throughout the year, and both have very stingy defenses. One, Ohio State is more explosive in my opinion. They have more playmakers. Even if Isaiah Bond's healthy, I just think Ohio State, with the ball in their hands, is a bigger threat to score at any point in the game than Texas. Now, Texas is very talented on offense as well, but they've struggled to run the ball at times this year. Against Georgia, both games they struggled to run the ball, and against Arizona State, Texas struggled to run the ball. If you're struggling to run the ball against Did I say Arizona State? If I didn't, I meant Arizona State. If you're struggling to run the ball against Arizona State, how in the world can you expect to run the ball against Ohio State? That Silver Bullet defense is something serious, and they've been playing well almost all year. So that's a problem for Texas, in my opinion. Ohio State has the more talent top to bottom. That goes on defense and offense, in my opinion. Now, Texas is not far behind, and they were probably, other than maybe Georgia, and Oregon maybe, probably the closest to Ohio State talent-wise in the playoff. Texas is definitely the closest out of the teams left. But talent can only go so far. Coaching has to carry you some of the way. Game planning has to carry you some of the way. And I can tell you that both coaches can get creative offensively. Ryan Day and Chip Kelly have had the Ohio State offense looking incredible in the postseason. Why was this not the case the whole year? I don't know if they just realized they had Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka and Carnell Tate. I don't know if they are just now realizing it and Will Howard can throw it a little bit. I'm not sure, but their game plan has not been as effective as it has been in the postseason. They are really peaking at the right time. And Sarkisian is one of the best play callers and schemers in college football, in my opinion. Now, he has his hands full with this Ohio State defense. I'm just going to be honest with you. The key for Texas in this game is to weather the storm early. We've seen Ohio State in both playoff games jump out early and just crush a team's wheel. Once you're down 21-0 and they made it look that easy, I mean, it's easy to give up on yourself. So if Texas can weather the storm, keep it within a score or two, maybe going into the second half, then that's got to be a lot of confidence build for them. They get a couple stops on defense, you're looking around like, hey, we can do this. And Texas on offense needs to establish the run. I don't know how you do it. That's why Sarkisian and his offensive staff are paid the big bucks. I don't know how you do it against this front, but they need to establish the run. If you can establish the run, then you can build the play action and the pass game off of that. And Quinn Ewers can get busy. We've seen Quinn Ewers make some big throws in his career. Now, this year hasn't been the best for him, but the skill's still there. The key for Ohio State in this game, in my opinion, is pretty simple. Throw the ball to number 4. Get Jeremiah Smith the football. In my opinion, he's the best player in college football, most talented. I won't say he had the best season or anything like that because that'd be kind of absurd. The numbers kind of don't back it up. But when I watch him on the field, he looks different than all the other players. He just looks like the best player in college football. Get him the football. Don't overthink it. And then as you feed him the football, the defense is going to start keying in on him, and it's going to open up opportunities in the run game and for other receivers and your tight ends to have success. So that's my key for Ohio State. Now, some questions I have. Can Ohio State's offensive line hold up? They've looked great thus far. And I think Tennessee and Texas's defensive fronts are probably pretty similar, in my opinion. Texas's defense is awesome. Tennessee's defense was awesome. And Ohio State's offensive line held up fine against Tennessee. Can they do it against Texas? The defense coordinator for Texas needs to find ways to get exotic blitzes dialed up and get Will Howard uncomfortable in the pocket and be able to stop the run game. The O-line is the key for Ohio State, in my opinion, as far as the offense goes. Yes, you need to get the ball to Jeremiah Smith. Obviously, you won't be able to get the ball to Jeremiah Smith if the offensive line is getting the pocket collapsed in Will Howard's lap all night. Interesting thing I was looking at. I didn't really look at any stats, but just off memory, both these kickers have kind of struggled at times this year. If you remember Ohio State's kicker, a lot of people blame the Michigan loss on him. I don't. I think it was awful game planning by Chip Kelly and Ryan Day. But I did see some people say, hey, you make a couple of those field goals, we probably win the game. He missed 2 easy ones, I think. And then Texas's kicker has struggled recently. I think he missed 2 against Georgia in the SEC title game. I don't know if he missed any against Clemson, but I think he missed 2 again against Arizona State. So the key is don't let them get on the field. Don't let them decide the game. Go score touchdowns and let them kick extra points, right? But that was interesting to me. And then we have Will Howard versus Quinn Ewers. This is quite a matchup. 2 pretty daggum good quarterbacks. Now, I wasn't as high on Will Howard coming into the year as I was Quinn Ewers, obviously. But down the stretch, Will Howard's been outplaying Quinn, in my opinion. I'm not saying I think he's better or has better talent, but Will Howard's pretty good. Quinn Ewers we know he's pretty good. Texas has to find a way to run the football. I think that's been where Quinn has struggled when defenses know they have to throw the ball, they can't run on us. How can they do that? Like I said, I don't know, but I do know one thing they can do to maybe help them in the run game a little bit, and that's get Arch Manning involved. Can we get Arch involved, please? I want to see him come in. It might spark up the run game and just create a lot of mass confusion. And then, obviously you start Ewers. I'm not saying start Arch. I'm just saying bring him in periodically. Have a package or 2, special situations. Maybe in the red zone you bring him in. I don't know. But as far as my pick goes, I'm going to take Ohio State to cover. They're 5.5-point favorites. I think they cover that with relative ease. I think if Ohio State is playing like they're playing, or if they play like they did the first 2 playoff games, nobody's beating them. Just plain and simple. They look great. And I hope we get a good game, honestly. But I hope for Ryan Day's job situation's sake that he keeps it rolling. I think they're the best team left. Maybe the second best team, maybe Texas. And this is a good matchup. So we'll see what happens. Can they get it done? Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win these 2 matchups. Do you got Penn State or Notre Dame? And do you have Ohio State or Texas? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate you guys. I can't wait for these semifinals. Let's get after it.